GlobalStar, ticker symbol GSAT, or further known as GSAT, is a company in which has been blowing up on my channel. I did a live stream earlier today where I talked about different companies and I asked you all to share with me companies that you were very interested in getting my opinion on. Well, one of them that did pop up loads of times in the comment section and in the live chat was going to be this company, GlobalStar. Now, I was very curious about it. You did mention that it was some type of communications 5G company. I had not honestly all that much information about them, but I did go ahead and dedicate a good bit of time over the last hours to figuring out what exactly this company was about, what were some risk factors, what were some possible catalysts, and what I thought this overall company's outlook was going to be like going into the rest of this year. Well, that is exactly what we will be going over today. But before we do get into the video, if you are interested in joining a Discord chat of over 80 to 90 investors and traders who share their different trades, who share all of the profits and losses that they take, all the lessons they learn, I share my entire portfolio as well as all of my live trades. If you are interested in joining a community as well as being able to access all of the content of my videos early, definitely consider heading to the link in the description and going check out my Patreon. We're running out of spots on a few of the tiers, so definitely go check it out. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what is going on with GlobalStar Incorporated, ticker symbol GSAT. So I actually did struggle to find an overall good article that explained what exactly this company did that didn't overcomplicate it, because I've even tried to watch some YouTube videos on this company over the last few hours and I couldn't find anyone who genuinely just explained what the company did in simple terms. But I did find this overall reflection of the company in one of their financial reports that really does make it super duper easy to understand. I will try to break this down and simplify it as much as I possibly can. Well, here it says that GlobalStar Inc. provides mobile satellite services, including voice and data communication services globally via satellite. So basically, of course, they provide communications and allow people to go back and forth through one another through their satellites that they do have orbiting. Well, they offer these services over their network of in-orbit satellites and our active ground stations, which are called gateways, which we refer to collectively as the GlobalStar system. So these, this collection of their satellites and all of their different gateways, they use it as more of like an ecosystem, which of course is going to be their GlobalStar system again. Well, in addition to supporting the Internet of Things, or the IoT, which honestly will be referred to a good few times in this video, so that will be important to note that that is the Internet of Things, data transmissions in a variety of applications. They provide reliable connectivity in areas not served or underserved by terrestrial wireless and wireline networks. So what these are, what terrestrial and wireless and wireline networks, if I'm not mistaken from the the research I've done, it's more focused towards like radio waves, and so of course those can be intercepted and those are a little bit more shaky, whereas satellite overall connection is going to be better typically. But going on, it says that in terrestrial wireless and wireline networks, and in circumstances where terrestrial networks are not operational due to natural or man-made disasters. By providing wireless communication services across the globe, we meet our customers' increasing desire for connectivity. So I think that's super important, the fact that they do focus on increasing that connection and providing people to have some form of connections and communications in areas in which, again, it is underserved by average or the typical terrestrial connections. Now, just a quick summary about their satellite network. They have a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites that includes second generation satellites, which were launched and placed into service during the years 2000 to 2013 after a $1 billion investment. Also, certain first-generation satellites, which are currently being used as in-orbit spares. Now, we will see later on that a lot of these did fail, so that is definitely something to note. So, they do have a bunch of satellites in orbit, as well as all of these different gateways, and that's what allows them to be pretty much fully in operation. So, whenever we talk about all of this different stuff, I hope it's pretty clear to understand that all they're doing is providing connectivity and communications through using satellites rather than trying to use terrestrial wireless connection. So, they do have a bunch of different products. I'm not going to go into every single one, but you can see here that they have started to put together a very diversified portfolio of products that they are selling. Now, just a brief overall explanation of these three categories. They have commercial IoT. IoT, again, is the Internet of Things. This is the satellite IoT device that allows you to monitor your business remotely and provide tracking in near real time on the GlobalStar LEO satellite network. This also allows you to streamline your operation, monitor and manage assets, deliver redundancy to terrestrial communication networks, networks and stay competitive in a connected global marketplace. Now they have the Spot for Business. Now this is the Spot satellite messengers are affordable and reliable while delivering location-based tracking and messaging and personal safety management. These devices include life-saving technology, one-touch SOS buttons that connects you with local emergency response teams around the world. So that one, of course, I'm sure we're going to see that one used a lot in some different industries that could, they're a little bit more prone to accidents, maybe anything overseas or anything at sea, which will then allow them to, utilize this enhanced connection that they offer to get people help that they may need in the case of a chaotic disaster or anything like that. And last but not least, they have voice and data. Now, GlobalStar provides reliable and portable satellite communication solutions that keep you connected in areas without cellular coverage. Check in via talk, text, or email and relay important information quickly, or trigger search and rescue services in the event of an emergency from your vehicle, vessel, or building. Now, I honestly believe that this is going to be the one that we see take popularity the most. Of course, we have all been in areas in which there is not reliable and good communication. There's not good connection. And so whenever you're especially like a business, or if you're a company who has a big asset, maybe like a big vessel, a big truck, or anything like that, they need to know what is going on with their overall business. They need to know, okay, where is my truck at? Is it on its way? Are we gonna be late? Do I need to notify the person who's receiving this shipment that it's gonna be late? And all of these different things can be very, very useful, especially in areas in which we can see that connection is not the best. Now, with that being said, who is the overall industries in which they can target? Now, this is probably my favorite aspect about this business, is the capability and the potential consumer base in which they can reach. It is huge. There are so many people who can use this. Realistically, think about every single person in the world, every single business. Everyone relies on some type of connectivity, some type of connection, and some type of communications. And I really think that this company, if done right over the next 10, 15, 20 years, that we could see them take a big part of this merging into the 5G type, services. So what are some of them? Now, I'm not going to spend, 30 minutes going over each one, but there are a few that I think could be very, very beneficial to this company. So the first one we're going to go over is government and public safety, because I believe that this is one of the ones that is going to see a lot of growth and has loads of potential, as it's something that will be around forever. It says that government and public safety officials facilitate and support rapid deployment of assets in personal and emergency management, disaster recovery, military and law enforcement, and federal, state, and local agencies. Satellite coverage is ubiquitous in massive response efforts, providing primary or backup communications to sustain operations in the event of terrestrial connectivity disruption or natural disasters. So you got to think, if something happens that knocks out the connection, where the terrestrial connectivity is, not working, and these people need to communicate back and forth to each other to figure out where everyone is. Does anyone need help in a certain place? This is when this company can come into effect, and they're like, hey, we don't rely on terrestrial connectivity. We use satellite coverage, and that allows us to connect people even if the terrestrial connectivity itself is not working. Now, again, terrestrial connectivity is focused more through radio waves. Now, the next one that I do believe is going to be important, especially going forward, and especially with the presidential election that we did just see, is that the energy sector faces major challenges communicating in remote and harsh environments where its workforce and equipment continuously operate in multiple drilling, mining, or utility sites. Assets and personnel are constantly on the move, so the inability to monitor productivity levels and access field data can impact other critical events or environmental compliance standards, as well as emergency response safeguards. So we got to think the energy sector is growing. They are starting to focus a lot more on energy, especially in this presidential, with Joe Biden being the president now. We are going to see an increase in funding in the energy sector. That just kind of comes with the Democratic Party's reign. So with that being said, this could be very beneficial to them, because a lot of these different things, like we have the picture here of the windmill, or overall with mining, all of these different things are going to grow. But if you think about the location of where the majority of the energy sector is placed, it's all out in remote and weird places that are out in the middle of nowhere. And again, the terrestrial connectivity may not be that great out there, which, like they said, could cause some disruptions, could cause some issues in figuring out important standards, figuring out emergency response. All of this is something that, GlobalStar can offer a solution to with their satellite connection. beautiful. It's amazing. It honestly makes so much sense. And I'm surprised that we're just really starting to see companies like this one take off. And the last one that I did want to talk about is going to be commercial maritime. Now, this is one that we did see take a beating in 2020. The overall maritime and shipping industry did take a pretty large hit. We didn't see them perform super well, but I do believe that going into 2021 here, we're going to see that completely turn around. If you even do just look at the numbers on dry bulk shipping and how that industry itself is growing, it's absolutely exponential. What we see here, that offshore service vessels, commercial fishing, merchant shipping, coast guard, government or military boats with onboard crews all rely on connectivity to communicate while working on the water. Maritime vessels must ensure timely delivery to drilling rigs, as captains and field crews need a reliable lifeline to quickly check in, schedule status alerts, and send messages back to port. Secure, reliable communications and safety are paramount for maritime operators to maintain compliance and productivity on the go. Now, I believe that this is easily probably going to be the biggest consumer that they're going to have. I couldn't really imagine any other industry that is going to utilize this as much as this one will, because there's really no worse place to get connection than in the middle of the ocean. Like, I can't really imagine a place, maybe on the moon, I'm not sure, but whenever you think about it in general, these people in this industry itself face connectivity issues every single day. And so with that being said, this company does offer solutions to that, as their low orbit satellites can help provide connectivity to check in from maybe the vessel over to the rig, from the rig to the vessel back to the port. And that is a very interesting aspect of the business that I really do hope they try to capitalize on as much as they possibly can. Now, what are some risks that are associated with this company? You know what I mean? So we do have great products. We have a great potential consumer base growing out crazily. Their management team has clearly been putting together a lot of agreements that we will go over in a second here. But what is the risk when it comes to investing into this company? Well, as it does say here, that since we first launched our first satellites in the 1990s, most of our first generation satellites have been retired or have failed in orbit. We also expect the remaining first generation satellites to be retired or fail in the future. Although we designed our second generation satellites to provide commercial service over a 15-year life, we can provide no assurance as to whether any or all of them will continue in operation for their full 15-year design life. Satellites utilize highly complex technology and operate in the harsh environment of space, and therefore are subject to significant operational risk while in orbit. Further, our satellites may experience temporary outages or otherwise may not be fully functional at any given time. There are some remote tools we use to remedy certain types of problems affecting the performance of our satellites, but the physical repair of satellites in space is not feasible. So those are the two main risks that I have seen be associated with this company, and it is pretty much common sense whenever it comes to a communication company that focuses on the satellites. Now, the good thing is they do have some gateways on the ground that will provide some type of connectivity in the instance in which we see the satellites do have some issues. But whenever you think about it realistically, if one of these satellites gets hit by some space rock or anything like that and takes damage, it's not like they can just drive someone out there and just have them fix it. No, it's not that simple. This is in space. Once that thing's done, it's done. And so the issue with that is a liability in the sense that whenever there's an issue, it could be major trouble. And one issue like that, where it's some physical damage, might cause this company to have to put all the funds into replacing it, because it's not just that easy to fix. So that is something to definitely think about, especially when considering their overall financial status. We will talk about their financials in a different video, as there is a lot that goes into it. So definitely let me know if you are interested in checking out their financials. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to now go into their stock price. I'm going to talk about why their stock price has been climbing so substantially over the last couple of days, seeing it climb 50% in the last trading session. And I will also give you all a little update as to what I will be doing with this company. So as we can see here, that the stock price has been absolutely flying. Now, during the day, we did see it climb up about 48.5%, and then it, dropping down about 6.5% to end out the aftermarket hours. Now, over the last 5 days, it has seen some pretty substantial growth, growing all the way up, let's see, of about 31%. But in the last 3 or 4 days here alone, we've seen it recover about 56%. So it has fallen a little bit in this little span right here. But the big thing is that over the last month, from the start of December 21st up until now, we have seen this thing climb over 280%. It hadn't cleared that $1 mark in a very long time. If we do go out to the 5 years, it has been quite the time that it has been able to clear it. And so seeing it finally reach above all of this, the last time it actually cleared $1 was way back here in 2018. Now, this is something that I did want to note, because a lot of people were worried about this. right here. You know, whenever you think about the fact that this company was doing so well and then they dropped and then they were dying and then they kind of recovered, then they started falling again. And then you see this growth of 200%. Whenever you look at it in a realistic sense of the overall stock price, you're like, man, that's nothing. But I think there is something to be said about what we have seen in the last year. Well, what I will go ahead and say is that I do believe that this industry that they are in, which is going to be communications and focusing on advancing up to 5G, is growing at extreme rates. Because one thing we have seen with the stock market recently is that overall industries and certain stocks within industries are booming with the growth of, the growth of the industry. Because whenever you think this company's technology wasn't all that exciting in 2009, no one really cared, honestly. But nowadays, when people are talking about 5G, whenever people are trying to get the highest speeds possible, as many people are still working from home, going to school from home, whenever a company like this one comes out and says that, oh, in these places where there might not be the best connection, we can provide them with connection that's better than terrestrial connectivity. Well, that's whenever you start to see people get interested. That's whenever you start to see the overall consumer base plus the investor base start to grow in excitement. And what comes with excitement in the overall investing community? Well, an increased stock price. And so I do believe that that is a part of the reason as to why we are going to see this thing grow. I do think this company has a lot of potential to grow a lot more than it is now and even surpass the levels that it saw in about 2017 and 2018. Because if it was capable of seeing those levels then, I really believe that with a growing industry, with an increased consumer base, with the recovery of the world and going back to normal soon, that we can see them really take a piece of the puzzle and really take out a huge chunk of the market share that they can apply their technology to. So with that being said, what am I doing with this company? So we have seen that they have also come to some very good agreements that I do believe will also fuel this stock price growth. Now, if we do jump back in, we can see that GlobalStar and Nokia did come to an agreement. This is going to be over their Band 53, which received third generation partnership project approval in 2018. It is well suited to meet the wireless connectivity demands of modern utilities. GlobalStar's terrestrial Band 53 holds physical, regulatory, and ecosystem qualities that distinguish it from other 5G spectrum allocations. So that is very, very exciting. I'm not going to go too in depth about this article as it has been around for a few weeks. So if you do want me to go into it and give my opinion on it, definitely let me know. I'll do it in a separate video. But one thing we have seen from this company is that they have been busy. They're getting out deals. They're doing amazing jobs at getting, insurance, getting agreements, and just really putting out overall articles that have been positive catalysts in getting their name out there. So we have seen this really affect their stock price, but none more than around the beginning of this year, as we have seen this company really take off. So what does that mean? What are my predictions, and what does that mean when it comes to what I will be doing? Well, my expectation is that this company could very likely be seeing a dip pretty soon here, as we have seen them start to grow, dip, grow, dip, grow, dip. I think the growth that we have seen them have here is going to last, but I don't believe that it's going to go without any volatility. I think that over the next week or so, we will see them grow from where they are now, but I'm expecting a bumpy ride. Now, I will say that I did let you all know that I was looking for a 5G or communications or some type of connection company that I actually believed had the prospects and the potential and had the technology to apply to all of these different industries that was actually legit, that I thought had some real potential. And I will say that this is the company for me. I think that they overall have a very good business plan. Their management is making good moves to get their name out there, and they're doing everything that is needed to reach success that they are looking for. So with that being said, I'm going to be starting a position into this company, but my overall play on them is I'm going to dollar cost average my way in. Because there's some companies that I think, okay, this thing's about to shoot up. I'm getting in on market open. I'm putting maybe $100 to $200 in. Well, with this company, I think I'm going to slow it down a little bit. If it does start to show some good progress tomorrow, I may potentially put a little bit more in. But realistically, I'm just going to allocate a small lump sum of money into this company. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see, okay, where's it going? Are we starting to have a pullback? Because if so, perfect. I'm going to buy some more down the dip. Or, okay, is it going up? Well, maybe I'll work my way up a little bit, as I do believe once it meets certain resistance that it likely won't fall under that resistance again. If you do want the full information and the full details about the trades I do make on this company into the future here, definitely do consider heading down to my Patreon below. I will be posting full updates and trade updates and my portfolio updates on the Patreon. I'll be posting all the information. I'm fully transparent on there. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I hope I could break this company down very well for you all. I was really struggling struggling to find a good article or a good video or anything that really broke down what this company did and why this company has so much potential. So I hope I was able to provide that value and that content for you all. With that being said, I do post 2 to 3 times every single day, so I hope to see you all soon. Peace.